Hello and welcome to the Cryptonaut podcast. My name is Mark Storrs, and with me as always is
Rob Morphy,
Uncle Bobby, and
Crayas.
Oh, we're back. A little something special. We've discussed this episode quite a bit. Dude, this has been in the making.
I forget that this was kind of hinted at because there was little snafus and problems, and now here it is.
There was
fledged.
like research that was like rediscovered.
Mm-hmm.
It was a whole thing.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked about this. So the Zaragoza Goblin, an urban imp.
Sure is.
That's where you got me.
Yeah,
the urban imp.
Yeah,
because we all know about the studio imp that we have.
Sure,
we can't discuss it.
No,
you speak about it too much, he comes out.
Duende law.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You must not broach the subject.
I feel like that's a law with a lot of things.
Yeah, I think so too.
You just can't talk about it.
I mean, when the three of us are together and enough white candles are lit and the lights are turned down.
Yep, exactly.
We can bring it up, but only by name.
Yes, and even then you got to be real careful because next thing you know, there's some scuttling. Next thing, and then it's in the bathroom shutting off lights on people.
And it's like a shitbag Munchies sequel, as if the original wasn't bad enough.
The Munchies.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I don't want to go down a Munchie road too quick here. So let's get started with, in September of 1934, just a week before the violent eruption of protests and political strife that marked Spain's short-lived October Revolution, a family living in a Zaragozan apartment complex became the targets of an eldritch entity that would torment not only them, but everyone else who entered the building during its month-long siege of horror.
A siege of horror.
Dude.
Not to be mistaken for a reign of terror.
I read this behind the scenes. I read the intro a couple of times because I have problems with reading and understanding things that I read and speaking them because I just can't for some reason make it work. I kept saying reign of terror and I could not get over saying reign of terror.
It's true. I even
worked it out of my system.
And I said, we can switch it. And you're like, fuck you.
I'm not going to let the siege of horror beat me. And quite honestly, I enjoy Siege of Horror. I don't think I hear that enough.
That's true.
And I'm thankful, Robert, for you that you put it in this intro for me.
Oh, shucks.
You made me a better person.
Well, I didn't know about that.
Well,
but I do know we got some Goblin action staying true to the paranormally infused 2025 so far. Yeah. I mean, we've definitely dipped into ETs and, we're going to go to Cryptid Land and probably already have been. But pretty consistently, we've gone to the world of weird this year.
Yeah, man. I mean, this is, it's just the world that we're living in right now. We're getting funky. We're getting spooky. We're getting goblined.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit.
Nice.
Yeah, dude. There it is.
Firming it up.
Nice. All right, man. Let's do it.
In the 7+ years we've been doing this podcast, the boys and I have explored all kinds of crazy creatures and arcane anomalies, running the gamut from insidious aliens and pesky poltergeists to crazy cryptids and demonic demagogues. Remember that motherfucker who was tormenting that family in like Revolutionary War
the
era?
Dag Demon?
Yes,
the Dag Demon.
Dag.
It was the Dag Demon.
Just going on and on.
God damn.
All the while filling the blanks in between with an incalculable array of slurping, slimy, hideous hellspawn of all shapes and size. But of all the truly batshit crazy beings we've dealt with over the years, there are few that can even begin to hold a candle to that most eccentric and irascible of entities, a garrulous and extra clever critter whose mere existence confounded a nation and made him the bane of bunnies, skeptics, and paranormalists alike. I am, of course, referring to the Isle of Man's most mendacious misanthrope, excuse my alliteration, it's getting me tongue-tied here, and self-professed eighth wonder of the world, Jeff the Talking Mongoose.
Yeah. Dude, that whole thing that you just read was a spell to invoke Jeff.
I hope so.
If everyone out there repeats that, and we all do it together, we could tulpa Jeff into reality.
Oh my God, Noetic Sciences in action.
I mean, you want to do that.
I think we need him as a whole.
I mean, has the world ever needed him more?
I mean, right now, as the human race, we need Jeff. Like a big version of him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like a big version.
Yeah, like mascot size.
Like kaiju size.
Oh, no, that's too much.
But he's there to get...
I feel like the normal one was too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun for a while, and he's just like, hey, he's juggling. And then all of a sudden, you just you get needles in your fucking back, and just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and
you get yelled at, then he turns into an insult comic, and then
he just roasts
That's
you.
Right.
Yeah. All right, man. All right, Jeff, here we go.
Triumph Jeff.
Yeah.
The tour. All right. As far as occult oddities go, one would be hard-pressed to find any account more outlandish than the one involving this rabbit-munching, atom-splitting, egotistical embodiment of the fifth dimension. But that being acknowledged, and with the full understanding that Jeff's throne will remain unchallenged, at least for the time, the case we'll be dealing with today, that of a stove-bound instigator involved in a series of unnerving incidents that took place in 1934, squarely within the time frame of Jeff's reign of weird, ranks up there among the most riveting interactions with a non-human intelligence on the books. Intriguingly, these twin cases seem to indicate that, as Europe and the rest of the globe teetered ever closer to the precipice of the world-shattering events of World War II, the supernatural floodgates holding back all of these turbulent psychic energies were starting to buckle, and what was leaking through was not only felt by the masses as the low, ominous hum of the inevitable turmoil to come, but, more provocatively still, was being tapped into by an often frightening and infuriating array of inhuman intelligences. Intelligences who made themselves known not through sublime grace and esoteric insights, but bizarre and bombastic proclamations, resulting in a mind-blowing array of metaphysical manifestations the likes of Jeff and the Zaragoza Goblin, and God knows how many others are waiting in the wings, waiting to be discovered by intrepid paranormal historians. That energy was being tapped into.
Dude.
It's my opinion.
I mean, look, don't get me started on Crowley. He was there. He was out there doing it.
He could have been part of the uncoupling,
Dude.
the untethering of reality.
He's doing all kinds of weird rituals and, seances, and next thing you know, before Jack Parsons and before L. Ron Hubbard shows up, he unleashes a bunch of stuff.
I mean,
and he's like, well, shit.
I'm never going to dismiss the power of power bottoms.
Dude.
Ever.
Dude, especially
magic.
When you're dealing with Mr. Aleister Crowley.
Absolutely.
Yes.
He will drive you mad.
He will.
With that ass.
That ass don't stop.
Wow.
In the middle of the desert, it's on.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
You'll be seeing the pharaohs, bro.
100%, dog. Eye of Horus.
You ready?
Eye of Horus.
Eye of Horus.
Here we go.
These non-egalitarian entities did not show up as one might hope to help usher an unsuspecting world through a tumultuous time with deep insights from meditative minds. Quite the contrary, they were loud, lewd, disruptive, and arrogant, punctuating their often riotous tirades with screaming fits and wild threats. In fact, in those troubled years leading up to one of the most destructive episodes in human history, the occult enigmas who made themselves known were not the cure for, but part and parcel of the pandemonium about to ensue. Which is not to say that they are, by definition, evil. But unlike a wildfire whose wanton destruction seems utterly unmotivated, paving the way for the ecological rebirth to come, these agents of chaos, though the outcome of their efforts may be equally fruitful, seem to revel in the bedlam and bloodshed, making their motivations at least questionable, and their apparent celebration of chaos and cruelty a point of genuine concern. In short, these very probably primeval forces were punk as fuck. They gave zero shits, and they were out there to make themselves known. Like, long before, there were the Rottens and the Viciouses and the whatnots, the Ramones to do it, for pop culture. But before we dive into the deep end, let's set the scene, which, in contrast to the Isle of Man's chilly, windswept austerity, takes us to a sunny urban swath of northeastern Spain, specifically the city of Zaragoza, which lies some 1,300 miles due south of Jeff's own Cashin's Gap. Positioned some 682 feet above sea level and nestled on the shores of the Ebro River, the city of Zaragoza, often anglicized to Saragossa, which is how I remember reading about it when I was a kid. Though I like Zaragoza much better. It's got
Zaragoza.
It's got a better flow.
Yeah, like you're coming in on a boat on a little dinghy and you're like, bring me to Zaragoza.
Well, it also sounds like it's a cool dragon you need to defy, or any number of things.
Yeah.
It's just Z's are cooler than S's.
100%.
Generally speaking.
Totally.
Right. Is the capital of northeastern Spain's autonomous Aragon region. Again, fucking Middle Earth names.
More
everywhere.
dragons.
Sweet.
Standing as the fourth most populous city in Spain, as of a 2021 census, Zaragoza boasted a population of nearly 700,000 citizens. But back in the mid-1930s, as the nation lay on the cusp of a general strike inaugurating the October Revolution of 1934, this often violence-plagued metropolis sported a population of just 160,000 souls. Then, as now, the city's main claim to fame was its Cathedral Basilica of Our Lady of the Pillar. According to tradition, the Apostle St. James the Great had endeavored, to bring Christianity to Spain, but had become disheartened by his lack of progress in creating converts. Legend states that, while deep in prayer on the banks of the Ebro River on January 2nd, 40 CE, St. James was suddenly confronted by what is claimed to be the very first Marian apparition. Mary's sudden appearance at the future site of Zaragoza, an event that would be quite stunning enough on its own, was made all the more phenomenal by the fact that she was, according to various sources, still alive in 40 AD. In fact, Mary's death, funeral, and assumption was claimed to have taken place in Ephesus, I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, some years later in 43 or 44 AD, meaning that she was appearing in visions while still alive, which all things considered is pretty mind-blowing. Stunned by the Virgin Mother's appearance, the demoralized James was delighted to suddenly receive a column of jasper. More on that in a second. And Mary, from Mary.
Yeah, I need to know.
Sometimes you gotta get jasper.
I need to know what this is.
Before hearing her state, "This is to be my house, and this image and column shall be the title and altar of the temple that you shall build." And for Mark and all the other curious souls out there, not up on their gemstones, jasper is an opaque, impure variety of silica known for its distinct colors and patterns.
So it's a gemstone?
It's a gemstone.
Yep.
Okay.
And there is a pillar of it. I don't know how big.
Huh.
I was a baby pillar. I was a big old pillar.
Yeah, I mean, is it like a monster pillar? Like,
I could have probably Googled it. I didn't.
don't worry about that.
About a year after the apparition, James built a small chapel in Mary's honor, the first church dedicated to her. This first chapel was eventually destroyed, but the statue and the pillar remained intact under the protection of the people of Zaragoza. The various churches that would be erected on the site of St. James' vision over the centuries would be patronized by European royalty and would be credited as being a particularly holy place where the faithful could commune directly with St. Mary.
Who could possibly be alive, could be dead, or is astral projecting herself.
Well, she was alive.
In the year 40?
Yeah, no, when you first said that, I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
'Cause I thought she was still alive.
Yeah, the Marian apparition, the first Marian apparition, evidently occurred while she was still alive, which is crazy.
I mean, I don't see. Hey, who am I to make the rules? Why
Well,
not?
yeah, at
Why
this
not?
point,
Yeah,
sure.
astral project. Who cares? It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but why? She doesn't have powers.
She does now, dude. I don't know, man. I'm
Well,
not.
the
I
Catholic
ain't
Church
questioning.
and the Christian Church definitely have umbrages with each other regarding the powers
Hey, man,
that St. Mary has, but
dude, the year
Catholics, by and large, accredit her with a lot of shit.
The year 40 was a banger. Okay,
All right.
they all had
Indubitably.
powers. Exactly.
And it's a good thing that so many citizens of Zaragoza had this direct access to the Heavenly Mother, as beginning in September of 1934, the worlds of more than a few of her faithful followers, consisting of scores of cops, clergy, and potentially thousands of eyewitnesses, would all be thrown for a mind-bending loop by the sudden appearance of an altogether more terrifying and decidedly less divine phantasm. One which made its home in an apartment building, evidently choosing to conceal itself within the confines of a wood-burning stove. That's right.
It does sound Jeff-like, though, so far. This is
Oh.
like something I'm going to live in the stove.
It also
Fuck
sounds
you guys.
very like Dag Demon-ish
I'm going to be in
too.
this
Oh, yeah.
apartment. I'm going to
Yeah.
live in the stove.
Yeah.
You guys can't
This is a
stop
nice
me.
place. I'm gonna make the stove my home
Yeah.
and just shit it up with mongoose shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think the Zaragozan entity is specifically a mongoose or any kind of marmot or
No, it's definitely,
vermin.
but it's shitting that thing up.
it's probably shitting.
100%.
Yeah, no doubt.
Goblin shitting the stove, dude.
The Palizan family occupied apartment 2, located on the second floor of an unnamed building on Gascon Gotor. It's such a cool name.
It's awesome.
Street in Zaragoza. They were evidently fairly well off, as the family could afford the services of a maid, specifically one Miss Pasquala Elosair. Throughout the strange ordeal, this enigmatic entity would take a keen and arguably unhealthy interest in the thin, raven-haired young woman, not unlike the unnerving focus that Jeff lavished on James and Margaret Irving's 13-year-old daughter, Voirée, back in 1931. And that's a Jeff reference again for those that aren't familiar. You can go back and listen to it at any time, and it's a fun ride. And it would be Pasquale who would be the first to report the strange shrieks and maniacal cackles of laughter that at first seemed to be coming from within the kitchen walls, but soon became clear was emanating from the Palazan's old wood-fire oven. It seemed that Pasquale and any other ear witnesses to this anxiety-inducing audio at first attributed the inexplicable sounds to rude neighbors, assuming that the sounds were moving in between the apartments via the interconnecting pipes, thus explaining why it sounded louder whenever she opened the oven. But according to Sarah Blake's October 31st, 2018 article, You Need Not Trouble, the Sinister Stove of Spain, on husheduphistory.com, this theory was, quote, completely shot down on September 27th, 1934. On that evening, the family maid Pasquale was washing dishes in the kitchen when the cackling once again began to trickle into the room from the stove's chimney. But this seemingly normal night took a sharp turn when the stove began calling her by name with a coarse male voice. The disembodied summoning was followed by a loud, sinister laugh that sent Elosayer running to the head of the household in terror, end quote. The unidentified Palazan family patriarch, in fact, it seems the whole family wished to remain anonymous by not using first names, ages, or occupations.
Understandable.
Yeah. He rushed into the kitchen with the maid, assuming that he'd quickly identify the voice as belonging to a neighbor or perhaps one of his own prankster children, but neither proved to be the case. What's more, it quickly occurred to him that, despite the fact that the apartments were all interconnected by a maze of pipes and shafts, there seemed to be no discernible way that a disembodied voice should be able to come through the labyrinth directly into his stove, like just concentrating on one pipe, one place.
Yeah, even like with a vent system, there's not really like it would go through the entire thing.
It would seem.
Yeah.
And of course, you got to rule that out too, which
no,
we'll be getting to.
Yeah, cool.
Like right now,
Yeah,
I can
it
see
sounds
anyone
weird,
skeptical
but-
saying, "Yeah, voices." Who's saying it's just coming through there?
Just the fact that there's like maniacal laughter coming from your stove, you gotta be like, dude, we got problems.
Yeah,
The fucking stove's laughing.
shrieks, laughter.
Nicole, the goddamn stove's
Yeah,
laughing.
get a new stove. If you're
How
well
many times
off,
I tell you about this shit?
buy a new stove.
It's true.
Exactly.
In a pinch, go
Sage
new
the
appliances.
stove.
That's
oh my
right.
god,
Yeah, dude. Go to Home Depot. They got a sale coming up.
sure.
There you go.
Eric Grundhauser, author of the June 2015 article Unconscious Ventriloquism, the Unsolved Mystery of the Zaragoza Goblin.
Wait a minute.
Just hold on to it.
Okay.
We're gonna get to this soon enough, Chris. On atlasobscura.com, elaborated, quote, the chimney connected to many other units in the building before escaping to the roof. So the logic was that the voice must have been coming from someone in the building. The roof itself was taller than any around it and too isolated to be accessed easily, end quote. Basically, it would have been difficult, if not almost impossible, for someone to position themselves on the roof just to play hell with the Palazan clan, and even if someone were inclined to go to such lengths, there seemed to be no discernible way for that disembodied voice to be able to see directly into the Palazan's apartment in order to be able to discern who it was specifically talking to.
That makes sense, yeah.
Blake continued her account of the eve of the 27th and beyond, writing, quote, an investigation into the source of the voice that night proved fruitless, with the cackling and shrieking continuing from the stove and the chimney with no obvious source. From that night on, the vocalizations began to get more and more personal. Starting as early as 5 o'clock in the morning, the stove began to address Elosayer and various family members of the Palazan family by name. It would reiterate conversations and accurately report any of the family's actions that took place within sight of the stove. It began answering questions and teasing anyone who walked by. These taunts were unnerving, but they would become quickly, I read that backwards, but they would quickly become outright terrifying.
Like, yeah, you just like, I gotta go in the kitchen again. Fuck.
Nice
You
lads.
gotta walk by it, watch by it.
Yeah,
Good job, idiot.
yeah, it's fucking way to go, dude. Fucking your homework sucks. You're an idiot. Fuck off.
Grab some milk.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Your parents don't love you. You're like, fuck. God damn it.
Too close.
This stove's a rat, bitch. That's what it is. It's a rat.
It's definitely a rat.
I just like the scene. I just picture like just a still. It's almost a Wes Anderson movie. And it's
Yeah,
in the middle,
100%.
and just people keep
Just a
walking
flat
by,
two-shot
and it
with the
says
legs.
something, and they're just like, "Fuck." They're going to keep walking by more.
Just keep going. Oh, man.
Disheartened each
At some
time.
point, you just got to be like, we can't be an eye shot or ear shot of this goddamn stove. We got to like do something.
How'd you do on that
about it.
test, Billy?
Yeah.
Probably failed because you're stupid.
Because you're fucking dumb.
Growing more concerned by the moment, the Palazans, not unlike the fictional Freeling
funny.
family in 1982's Poltergeist,
Oh, nice.
began consulting their neighbors to see if anything strange was going on in their apartments. At first, the neighbors all denied any disturbances and seemed skeptical that anything anomalous was afoot. But before they knew it, they'd all become involved in this ever-growing web of weird. And as word of this unusual haunting spread, so did the reputation of this sinister specter. Blake detailed, quote, "The Palazan family did not keep the phenomenon unfolding in their kitchen all to themselves, and in a desperate attempt to confirm their own sanity, they brought neighbors into their home to hear the voice. To the shock of the visitors, they were greeted with a hello and sometimes a name, before hearing the unidentifiable noises and growlings emanating from the stove. With so many witnesses adding credibility to the Palazan stove, the theories began to sprout."
Dude, could you imagine you're like, all right, Mark, I got to have you come over and check something out. And I'm over there. I'm like, yeah, what's up? And the stove's just like, what's up?
What's up,
Like,
dude?
The fucking stove's talking.
Hey, what?
Yeah.
Just thinking about.
Why do you smell like shit, bro?
Just think-
You work,
Yeah.
you work at a sewage plant? What's up?
Oh, another dumbass. Great.
yeah. Nice tight shirt, chunky boy.
Wow.
But you look a misfits. Loser.
Just fucking misfits. Nice tattoos, you Jeremy Corbell wannabe. Oh, calling myself
jeez.
out.
Wow.
Calling myself
Self-burn?
out.
You're your own worst enemy, sir.
Self-burn, yeah. Who do we hurt most? Ourselves.
That's true.
That's right.
So
And
true.
who hurts us? Us.
Mm,
That's a healing moment, Robert.
I'm so glad.
When the stove talks to you, you don't listen to what it says.
Hug it out.
You hug the stove.
Tell us okay?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not your fault.
Just,
it's
yeah,
not-
It's
not your fault.
Dude, you've been wronged. Ben, you've been wronged.
Oh,
That was Grizzly
Right.
Adams.
Until it cries, then you hug.
Yeah, then when the
Yeah.
stove, you got to hug it, yeah. And then maybe rip it out, put it out of its misery.
did Ben often talk to, or Grizzly Adams often talk to Ben?
He did
about,
talk to, no, there
about
was,
having injustices committed to him?
Ben was upset about something, and he was like, Ben, I know you've been wronged. I know you're hurt. And he like, I don't know, him and Ben had a whole thing.
I mean, I haven't seen that since
I mean,
I was a kid.
doing
but
Goodwill Hunting. Not that.
Oh, I was thinking
Yeah.
about
Yeah,
Grizzly Adams
that's
and
the
Ben.
standard trope of it's
Yeah.
not your fault. But yeah, no, I mean, you dug deep.
You ever think maybe like the song by Michael Jackson, Ben was actually about, Grizzly Adams? Ben, the two of us need look no more.
No,
It's Grizzly Adams singing to the bear.
no.
I don't know. It's popped in my mind. I thought I'd talk about
I mean,
it.
why not?
Talking stove, Bob. Bring,
Yeah.
bring me back home, brother.
Thanks, man.
Country-
Appreciate that.
Country roads.
Though most who heard of the Palazan's plight assumed that they were the victims of an ingenious hoax, those who'd been invited into their flat and who'd heard the thing's unholy voice began to use a different word to describe it. Duende. This specific breed of primal, perhaps pre-human intelligence hails specifically from southwest Europe's Iberian Peninsula, and though they are often associated with dwarves and leprechauns and other fairy folk like that, these particularly mischievous beings are more directly akin to goblins and their insidious ilk. Goblins that, according to Blake, have a reputation of being troublemakers who, depending on the story, lure children into the forests away from their home, clip the toes off of unkempt children, and live in the walls of homes with young ones living inside.
They just got like a cigar cutter and they take kids' toes off?
I mean, if you're not going to clean your feet,
Damn,
goblins going to
really?
get your toes.
I didn't know that.
So I don't know how many days leeway you get without a bath before the goblin can claim your toes.
Like,
Right,
when can I start
right.
threatening my children about their dirty feet? Like, the goblin's going to come and cut your toes off. Like,
And it's not like bath time was all that common for most of humanity's history. I mean,
Yeah,
the
man.
1930s, probably more common, but still not like hot water common.
You need like running water and like a sewage. Well, I guess maybe you don't need a sewage system, but you need like
you
running
boil water and you put it in
Yeah.
a bucket, a big
Well,
bathing
yeah,
bucket, whatever
big
the fuck you
basin.
call it.
Yeah.
Basin. That's what I'm
Yeah,
looking for.
there you go.
Big bathing bucket.
I mean,
Basin.
Yeah.
keep your feet clean, kids, or the goblin's going to come and cut your toes off.
Facts.
That's what they do on Easter.
Oh,
Yeah.
little late.
Goblin Easter.
That warning would have come in handy last week, bro.
Hey, dude, for us, Easter was yesterday, dude.
Yeah, I know.
He is risen.
Mm,
There you go.
boy.
He took the Pope with him. R.I.P.
Jesus. Okay.
Yeah, R.I.P., man. Damn.
There it is.
What a weird fucking coincidence.
I mean,
I know. It's just a weird coincidence.
sure.
It's strange, Anyway, big rips. Continuing.
With the rumor mill, Grinding at record pace, it wasn't long before everyone in the building was aware of the Palazon's unique visitor. As the word spread throughout the community, small crowds began gathering in the hallways and the lobby of the apartment building, with the curious desperately trying to hear growls, shrieks, or caustic comments coming from the bizarre being who'd become the talk of the town. At wit's end, the Palazons initially moved to another apartment in the same building, but was offered no respite from the bothersome boogin. It was then that, according to Grundhauser, the family decided to put the mystery into the occasionally capable hands of officialdom. Quote, finally, with the family unable to root out the source of the disturbance or cope with its presence any longer, the Palazons went to the police for help in mid-November of 1934. It's unknown whether the police would have gotten involved had local interest in the Zaragoza elf not been beginning to take on a tenor of hysteria, but with the authorities involved, the mystery voice became more popular than ever, and the crowds grew by the hundreds while the police investigated. End quote.
It's kind of cool.
Absolutely.
You got like a
Man.
little, everyone's, it's like a little punk rock show. You're like, yeah, the fucking, the stove elf is going to fucking do his jam.
He's going to make a proclamation.
A little tiny,
Gather.
a little tiny mortis.
Protect your toes.
Little tiny mortis.
Oh, baby Mortis.
Baby
So
mortis.
do they think it's the energy of something, or they think the stove is the thing?
I think they think it's being occupied.
It is that right?
By
That's what they.
a paranatural.
It was hard to really say by
Yeah.
their comments.
I don't think
They
they're
actually-
thinking. At no point in my research did I get the vibe that they thought, "Oh, the stove's possessed."
Yeah. Okay.
Right. Just something is
That
like
just something
living in
is
the stove.
using it as a conduit.
I wonder if are they using the stove as this thing is in there talking
I
to
mean,
them?
you have to assume.
You got to be like, we got to cook a roast. Like, hope we don't get any elf shit on it.
I mean, you really
Like,
do.
Yeah.
They
Is it
probably did a
talking
lot
to
of
you
eating
while
out.
you're? Yeah. Yeah. Actually.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, it's weird.
Yeah.
And is it communicating while the poor house servant is trying to cook?
Yeah, like as you're cooking, is this thing talking like your fucking cooking sucks? Your potatoes are dog shit. You're
So
gonna
dry.
burn the roast.
Shameful.
The beans
Right.
are terrible.
Like, how's it living if you're cooking stuff in the stove?
That's the thing, man. It's
All valid questions.
beyond time. and
That's what.
space.
Yeah. That's why I'm just like, do they think it's a physical thing or like the spirit of something?
Yeah, dude. It's the
I
spirit.
think they
of
think
the,
it's the
'cause,
spirit
like-
of something.
Yeah.
I believe so.
it was the spirit of the unconscious ventriloquist.
Oh my.
Is that what it was? Is that what it
No.
was?
oh yeah.
Just hold on. It's coming. Unconscious ventriloquism.
Glad you
Sorry,
reminded me of that.
unconscious
Oh, God.
ventriloquism.
I almost had to stop the pod and everything right then.
Yeah.
And thank you.
So while hundreds are gathering outside, I picked up with, and where hundreds gather, the press is never far behind. On November 24th, 1934, in a piece about what they dubbed the Zaragoza ghost, obviously anglicized, the London Times reported that while the building was under police guard, a group of men, including architects, builders, masons, and some hired help, had been set inside to investigate every nook and cranny of the edifice. Consulting plans, the men scoured the structure from basement to roof, but found no space that could have accommodated an alleged prankster. In fact, before ascending the rooftop, the men were gathered in the Palazon kitchen when one of them remarked that they need to get the measurement of the chimney opening, to which the often ill-tempered duende responded, "You need not trouble, the diameter is just 6 inches." When the workers finally made it to the top, they found that this measurement was as accurate as it was inexplicable.
I mean, that's helpful.
Yeah,
You know,
6.
if I had a
Deal
little
with it.
the one day at work where I'm like, God damn, how big is that pipe? It's like 48 inches, asshole. I'm like, oh, cool, thanks.
Especially even if it was a dick, but it was constantly giving useful shit.
Yeah, it's like a weird version of ChatGPT.
Or if you had like anti-gremlins, and instead of like dicking up the works, they would just like do small piddling repairs for you or point
Oh,
you to where the
yeah.
repairs needed to
That'd be
be.
great.
Like just get you to the right, be dicks about it and talk about how you weren't going to like fix it for shit, but still put you in the right area.
You weren't going to change the pump packings anyway, Mark. We'll do it. I'm like, you're right. I wasn't.
Well, yeah.
Thank you.
But
I
things
appreciate
always
that.
go too far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then, because then all of a sudden, like,
You have to take it with goodwill and humbleness.
Yeah.
Because once the humans get uppity, then it's going to spiral, like Chris says.
Yeah, exactly.
Words are going to be exchanged.
Yeah,
Unions will be called.
Nah, we're not calling
Havoc
unions.
will ensue.
We ain't calling unions. We're just going to fist fight in the parking lot.
No,
like
I'm at the
men.
Goblin Union, man.
Oh, that union.
yeah.
Damn.
You're fucked.
Right.
Yeah, shit.
We did all this free work. Now you got to pay up.
Yeah, exactly.
You weren't grateful, so now.
Dude, I
And
am.
you're lining up toes before you know it.
They did.
Take your toast.
They took my hands.
Depends on how much work they did.
It's true.
True.
It's true. There you go.
True.
All right, cool.
But that wasn't the worst of it. To the humiliation of the officers involved, and very likely the delight of all within earshot, save the Palazans, who were likely just as mortified by the whole ordeal, the police would gather in the kitchen, pens in hand, in order to interrogate the wood-burning stove.
What a day to be a cop.
Oh, boy. What a day. You made your mom proud that day.
Yeah.
Oh, Clancy.
Clancy.
Oh my
Sanchez O'Brien, you've done well.
I'm fucking interrogating a stove.
I know it. To the authorities' chagrin, this enigmatic entity would respond to their questions without hesitation and even described objects that the officers were holding, once again displaying its inexplicable omniscience, as there was no obvious way anyone could have seen into the room. So it's doing uncanny shit, and these poor cops, yes. Blake also confirmed when the Zaragoza police entered the duplex in mid-November, they were probably expecting to quickly debunk the ridiculous claims that they had been hearing, but it was proving much more difficult than they had anticipated. With both British and Spanish readers growing more obsessed with the now daily reports hailing from Zaragoza, interest in the garrulous goblin was, according to Grundhauser, reaching a fever pitch. A Barcelona radio station tried to get someone to put a microphone in the room so they could broadcast the voice. And members of the Scotland Yard were planning trips out to the apartment to try and solve the case.
This could be a podcast
Scotland
situation.
Yard.
Pre-podcast, yeah.
Yeah, but this could be, dude, radio. You just go like, and we're here on the scene with a talking stove here.
Oh, and it would have been that old-timey radio, especially if it had been an American reporter.
It wouldn't work in Zaragoza, but it'd be kind of cool. And Stove, what do you have to say? It's like, fuck you. You're like, oh, thank you, Stove. There's an FCC. We're all going to get in trouble here now, you see? This would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
We should totally
Well,
get
they might. I wonder if it would be old time slang. They're like, "Oh, you joke."
right. Yeah.
I'm doing a little punchy thing.
Yeah, no, I do.
Like,
I enjoyed that.
I mean, had this taken place in New York
yeah,
at the
that's
time,
true.
then
Yeah.
yes, across the board.
Exactly.
But yeah, who knows? With the situation quickly spinning out of control, and offense almost certainly being taken by virtue of the fact that foreign constabularies were offering to come and take the case out of the hands of the ostensibly incompetent Spanish officers, Johnny Law decided that it was time to put their boot down.
Oh, no.
To that end, the police and the Spanish army, under orders of the governor of Zaragoza, evacuated the entire building and established a 90-foot perimeter around the fairy-infested premises made up of on-duty officers and volunteers, all of whom were ordered to keep the throngs of curiosity seekers at bay. Once the building had been secured, a search party was sent in to make sure no one had resisted the order to leave, and once it was designated officially empty, the army then shut off all power to the structure.
I really thought they
I
were
mean, it's probably a good idea, actually.
All of it.
You get
makes
everyone
sense.
out, shut off the power, then see if it's still like. Oh,
I agree.
Way to go.
thought maybe they're going to bomb it.
Oh my God.
Like shell the building.
Burn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I thought really first thing would be like, well, turn the oven on. Can you talk to it while it's on? But then I guess you could might kill it. But at least that would be like.
But this, I don't think this is electrical though.
No, it's a wood stove.
It's like a wood stove.
right.
So,
So turn it on is mean active, burn it.
Right.
Like put fire
Right,
in it.
yeah.
And start
Again,
it.
Not an expert on. I know that I did a little bit of research. There were electric stoves in 1930 Spain.
Okay.
I know the bigger cities. There was that huge transition period, like going from gas lit lights and stoves and whatever to electric stuff. And that transition took a long time. And then the more impoverished an area, which I don't know, I don't think they're that impoverished because they could afford a maid, or maybe they were just slightly less poor and could afford a maid.
Yeah.
So I really don't know how the Palazans situation.
Yeah, I don't know the curve of.
Yeah.
But it could easily be a place where you have a wood burning stove, but you still have access to some of the amenities like electricity and running water.
And the wood burning stove could just be for heat. It just not necessarily like cooking on,
Yeah, I suppose, but you're
doesn't,
right. I didn't even think about that.
It doesn't matter. Just put fire in it and
Yeah, and
see if
see,
it's still
dude, how crazy, dude. At
'Cause-
what point when like the army gets involved?
Yeah.
When the mayor's like, we need the army there, stat, everybody get out. You're like, dude, for over a talking stove.
Yeah.
Like, come on, man. God, I wish we were around and alive in this time because we would have thrived.
All those
My
great
God.
pre-internet moments where, even in the 70s, we talk about it all the time, where they got together for big monster hunts
Yes,
all
dude.
throughout the United States.
Yeah.
Carnivals and guns and cotton candy.
Iron-on
and
T-shirts
beers and cigs.
Yeah, well, there's some danger there.
I mean, there is, but it's
Sure.
all in good fun.
And there's
You know?
danger at local carnivals, too.
Dude, yes.
Yeah, no.
Actually, they're the one that at the Finger Lakes Mall is starting up, I believe, this weekend.
Oh, boy.
The rando, really expensive carnival. There's
Yeah, I
no,
know the
There's
one.
no cigs
At the
and
mall?
guns. Yeah.
No, that's a
Carnival at the mall?
Yeah, there's a carnival
different,
at the mall.
different
Like
breed of
Italian Fest
Not the
carnival?
carny we grew up with.
Kind of like Italian Fest, but like way super expensive and way flashier.
We grew up with the seedy shit.
Oh, dude, we grew with
When it was tucked in by,
Yeah,
was
dude.
it Colombian rope?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I remember.
100%.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
it
yeah,
was just
dude.
like shady corners and
mo-
all
it
sorts of weird
moved every
deals.
year. Like it.
But
I
yeah,
definitely
that's
remember
when,
it
'cause I
there. I
remember,
remember
like
it.
I'm on like the Orbiter or something, and I'm next to an abandoned building, like inches away from darkened windows of a dilapidated
Oh
structure,
yeah.
and
I
I'm
remember
like,
eating a candy
oh my
apple
God.
and getting someone to buy me a beer, and I was like 13, and
Sure.
it worked.
Yeah.
I was like, I got money for a candy apple, but I really want to.
Dude, all the
Beer.
rides were like 40% rust.
Oh, dude. Yeah, there was no grease on anything. It was all danger all the time.
agreed.
Army's on the scene, Bob.
Yep, Army's on the scene.
What are they going to bomb next?
It was then that the Zaragozan authorities brought out their big guns.
Yes.
Having made double sure that the apartment complex was vacant and assuring by way of the human barricade line that no one could sneak in or out, the governor then invited a hand-picked team of doctors and psychologists to go into the apartment. Oh shit, I fucking read it weird. All right. Invited a hand-picked team of doctors and psychologists into the apartment. Oh God, I read
Yeah.
it so bad.
Yeah.
Just the fact that they're sending medical doctors and psychologists
Yeah.
to talk to a fucking stove, dude.
In the hope that they might
Doctors,
unveil
though.
the master hoaxer.
Oh, you're gonna root the hoaxer out.
But they weren't content to put all of their eggs in one academic basket. Just in case the situation proved to be a genuinely diabolical one, the officials balanced out the academic team with a feisty group of theologians who looked none too kindly on goblin antics and had a reputation for getting the job done, though occasionally getting a bit overzealous in their mission. Looking at you, Spanish Inquisition. I'm, of course, referring to the Roman Catholic Church, who were, if science failed, tasked to go toe-to-toe with the sinister sprite.
Dude, this shit got so real. They called the Vatican in, dude. They got psychologists, medical, and they're all talking to a fucking stove, man.
They're all there to talk to the
They're
stove.
talking to the stove.
They didn't call the Vatican in.
Dude,
They called it the local church, who may have gotten
They're
approval.
going to have to contact the Vatican and be like, look, we got to go exercise a stove. And they're going to be like, a what? And they're like, we got to goddamn do one day in a stove. And it's being rude to everybody. And
It is
Scotland
awesome,
Yard's
though.
here, and the army's going to probably gun the building down.
I mean, this is completely like the opening to a Hellboy story.
Oh, this
Like they seal off the
No,
building
percent
yeah.
is
because
the BPRD.
there's an asshole oven.
Yeah, except that it
They
really
have
isn't.
the,
Yeah.
the human
Yeah.
cordon off the thing.
All right, what are
Then
you?
the governor dictates
really?
that the scientists and the psychologists and the priests will
Yeah.
go in with their
Damn
police escort. And let me keep reading.
Can we
that.
pitch this to Magnola, you think? Just be like, Mike,
I'd be shocked if he didn't know about it.
Mike, it's Mark. I got something, dude.
I mean,
you're
come
going to
on.
love this.
Set it in historical precedence.
Oh, my God.
So it was that on November 25th, 1934, this elite unit of scholars and clergymen were sent into the aging structure to wage war with the insidious imp therein. The likely haughty men, girded as they were with both academic knowledge and blind faith, were guided through the long, dark corridors up to the second floor, wherein their police escorts delivered them into the Palazan's kitchen, ground zero for all of the hullabaloo over the past weeks. Silence hung heavy inside the otherwise empty abode. That is until one of the priests splashed holy water onto the stove, which caused an eruption of ungodly howls, followed by a string of garbled words.
It's an evil stove.
So it is, yeah.
It's an
Okay.
evil
So
stove.
It was then that, according to Blake, the stove calmed down and, quote, began to address specific people by name and somehow knew when people entered and exited the room.
Oh, my God.
When someone would turn off the light, a devilish voice would scream, "Light, light, I cannot see." The police began to question the stove directly, and the answers it gave brought them no closer to comfort or a conclusion. A typical exchange between the learned men and the entity would go along the lines of, do you want money? No. Do you want a job? No. Then who are you? What is it that you want, man? Nothing. I'm not a man.
Oh my God. I'm a stove.
I'm a fucking
Do you
stove.
want a job?
I don't have a job. I have a vocation.
What a fucking, I am a job, fucker. Like, Jesus Christ. I mean, do you want a job? Go fuck yourself. How about that?
Yeah. Screw it.
I'd be pretty upset too if they were like, do you want a job? I'd be like, you son of a bitch.
You don't even
What
know.
am I supposed to do? Be a cashier? I'm a fucking stove. Yeah. I can't deliver shit. You put things in me, you burn it.
You guys are slowly convincing me that maybe it's just a really pissed off, somehow sentient fucking appliance.
I really think
Because that's what it feels like.
It's a fucking haunted stove, dude.
I mean,
like, this might be better than Jeff. I
like,
don't want to do it. But
literally the first creature to like achieve sentience independently.
the fucking stove.
A random Spanish stove in the 1930s. Who's just sitting there like, hey,
He's just the worst
just
roommate.
trying to talk shit with the maid that was like cooking.
Terrible roommate, man.
And just trying to throw like little pithy barbs at people as they walk by, trying to ingratiate himself.
Yeah, no, he's just trying to be one of the
But he
boys.
doesn't know all the social mores.
No, he didn't. He's a stove. How could he?
What do you expect
I
of this
don't know.
thing?
He's only ever known that room. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's hurtful. It's hurtful what they wanted from him and what he could deliver.
I am not a
don't know.
man.
This exchange was followed once again by blessed silence. Try as they might to coax the creature into communication after its declaration of status, as in, I'm not a man. The duende was stubborn in its refusal to speak, leading Grundhauser to write, after 2 days of silence from the goblin, the local magistrate, who was eager to restore logic and order to the city, deemed the case to simply be an anomaly, and the police withdrew. However, things were far from over.
An anomaly of a fucking talking stove?
Following the 2 days of quiet, the residents of the building, including the beleaguered Palazans, were given permission to return and assured of the fact that the goblin was no more. Though this assertion delighted those involved, it would prove to be a bit premature, as no sooner was the family back in the apartment, their false sense of security was shattered as the voice in the oven began screaming, "Cowards! Cowards! Cowards! Here I am!"
Oh, no, dude, it's back with a vengeance.
Of course it is. It's never. I mean,
No, it never goes away, but that thing was just biding its time. It's all I gotta do is not speak
Just
and no
quiet.
one knows.
All cops are gone.
Yeah,
Everyone's back in.
exactly.
You sons of bitches!
How
Right.
dare
The
you?
betrayal! You were family to me. I slaved for you.
And then they fucking threw holy water on me.
It's not done.
They asked if I wanted a job. I am a job.
It was at this point, according to the impeccably monikered Reddit user Queef Burrito, that it then resumed its usual pleasant tone and gave everyone present permission to smoke.
Oh,
Whereupon
everyone.
it once again switched tacks, declaring that it would kill everyone inside,
See,
after which it screamed over and over, I come, but it never did. It never showed up, but maybe it was having an astral orgasm.
oh my God. I come.
Yes. So, hey, everyone, hey, smoke him if you got him. It's all good. Hey, I'm going to kill you all.
Yep.
I come.
All right. I mean, thank you, Queef Burrito, for that fucking insight.
And don't think I used his quote just because I wanted to say Queef Burrito. That's exactly why I used that quote.
yeah.
Though, actually, the permission to smoke, I didn't read in any of the other accounts. So it's still valid.
I might have to follow them on Reddit and see what.
Yeah, like where did they find that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Bit of info.
It seemed like they wrote this whole diatribe on the piece themselves and then posted it to Reddit.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
So it's interesting.
thank you.
It's a Google away for anyone curious.
Thank you for your contributions, Queef Burrito.
Yes, indeed. Not surprisingly, this proved to be the straw that broke the camel's back. And even though the police had resumed guarding their home, on the 29th of November, the Palazan clan would leave not just the building, but the city of Zaragoza behind.
Oh, damn.
They're fucking done.
Yeah.
The kill them all, fucking smoke them if you got them, fucking I'm coming everywhere was enough. Enough. But even as one family left in fear, thousands more entered the scene enthralled with this emerging legend. It got to the point where tourists taking buses in from far-flung villages throughout Spain we're taking buses in from villages throughout Spain just to catch a word from the internationally renowned duende. It was then that, according to the London Times, the governor and his acolytes decided to put an end to this circus once and for all.
No.
According to Queef Burrito, never done. The investigation changed course when a famed psychiatrist, Dr. Joaquin, I always mess up that name.
Is it Joaquin?
Joaquin. God damn it. Joaquin Oriera.
I mean, you were close.
Oh, Joaquin.
Joaquin.
I just cannot.
There you go.
Joaquin Oriera accused the Palazan's family maid Pasquala of projecting some kind of, and here we come back to it, unconscious ventriloquism.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess now I know what they mean by that.
Now, for those both academically or parapsychologically, inclined, who are unfamiliar with that term, take heart, as it was evidently created whole cloth by the Zaragozan authorities to explain away the goblin phenomenon and disperse the ever-growing masses that threaten to stretch their city's limited resources and public services past the terminal point. It does not exist previous to this, as far as I could tell. And maybe they have modified this theory to something else, but basically this is something they pulled directly from their ass. And when you hear what it is, it just sweetens the deal. To prove this sketchy hypothesis, the police sent the now presumably unemployed maid out on an errand. Despite their hopes to the contrary, the offending entity went right on talking after she had left the building. On December 4th, 1934, despite the fact that this experiment and scores of other times she was not present when the goblin held court ought to have proved beyond a doubt that the servant was not responsible, the governor nevertheless made a public proclamation officially accusing poor Pasquala Alocer of being the voice of the pernicious phantom.
She's not even there, man.
I mean, wasn't she gone when the fucking army came and evacuated
Yes, everybody was
So
gone,
why
yeah.
was that even brought up now when no one was involved?
Well, here's the key point. They quickly added, however, that the young woman was not to blame. Unconscious ventriloquism, everybody. Just get on board, okay?
I understand.
Can I use this for like an excuse in my life when I'm like,
oh, sure,
late for
everyone
work,
gets
or
one.
If I don't return an email, I'm like, oh, unconscious ventriloquism. Sorry.
Man, I don't know. Did you think I said that?
Yeah, please excuse the delay, aka unconscious ventriloquism.
Dr. Oriera explained that Pasquala, who was utterly unaware of her preternatural abilities, had been able to inadvertently project her voice, transforming it into that of a masculine entity. Grundhauser further explained that, understandably, Alocer herself claimed to be completely unaware that she was apparently throwing her voice while in some sort of fugue state. The official who had been presiding over the investigations, presumably Oriera, I think, claimed to have seen it himself, vaguely explaining that it was the result of a, quote, psychic phenomenon produced only in certain circumstances.
Oh, they went psychic with this?
So he said he's seen this thing before.
He said...
Or it's from her.
He saw it from her.
He's
ostensibly saying that he's seen it before because he defined it.
Yeah, right. That's what he... Like,
as, sometimes somebody who doesn't know it is throwing their voice in ways they can't fathom
psychically
when they're not even there.
No shit.
And evidently psychic powers have to play into it, because how else? Well, I'll keep reading here. Needless to say, Pasquala denied responsibility, and voices on both sides of the debate chimed in stating that the duende had been clearly communicating when Pasquala was miles away from the building. But these protests fell on deaf ears. According to Grundhauser, quote, for the city officials, the matter was at an end, and they were happy to move on. Now fingered as the perpetrator of the fraud, but with no evidence to arrest her and really no interest in doing so, Alocer was allowed to return to her hometown to get away from the judging eyes of those in Zaragoza.
This poor lady. Quote. Jesus.
Yeah.
Who's giving her a shit?
Facts just don't even
matter.
Yeah,
that doesn't even fucking work.
Well, I mean,
it's not your fault. You don't realize that you're psychically becoming an unconscious ventriloquist.
Yeah.
Like,
you're not in the building. You're not even near the block. You're just out shopping somewhere.
Yeah, and it's still your
somehow
fault.
They're just looking to pawn it off.
That's
to find like the Condon report
ridiculous.
gave the Air Force an excuse not to study UFOs because it's becoming a pain in the ass, and the more legitimacy they give this phenomenon, the more chance an actual enemy could use to have it like follow up communication lines and actually make it a dangerous situation for an oncoming invasion.
So
I get
stupid.
why the officials of Zaragoza were like, I mean, we're getting fucking taxed to our limits. It's not like you're just making good tourist bucks. There's probably a lot of poor people staying on the streets. Hygiene's already fucked.
Well, yeah.
I get it. I mean, it is a spectacle. It is going to be kind of like a problem, even though you are definitely getting some pretty fucking sweet influx of people checking shit out. Local businesses must be booming.
I mean, think.
Yeah, totally.
You think, unless they're like starting up little encampments, like hobo encampments where they're all cooking their own food.
You need a drink,
Sure.
Yeah, get some bread, get a drink, queef burrito. There you go.
Yeah, well, all right. Yeah. There it is.
I mean, queef burrito, dude.
Whatever you need.
Whatever they're doing.
Right on.
Best fucking Reddit name ever.
Though there would be intermittent reports of eerie sounds and spectral voices coming from the walls, that same day of December 4th would also mark the last official encounter with the Zaragoza Goblin. So the day she was accused is the same day that the last time that we know of.
Okay.
In all fairness.
It's very cool. It's very coincidental.
Despite the open declaration of Pasquale's guilt, a handful of not-so-intrepid officers were ordered to have one final go-round with the suspicious stove. Maybe the men in charge wanted to find out what it had planned next, or perhaps they were hoping beyond hope that by blaming an innocent, it would be inclined to take its infernal leave. Whatever the reason, the cops tasked with the interrogation found themselves unable to get up the nerve to confront the anarchic appliance. Yeah. Anarchy loving appliance.
The anarchy loving stove.
So,
dude,
in a shameless act of passing the buck, the son of the building's owner, 6-year-old Arturo Grialba, was drafted to do the job instead.
The kid needs a job, man.
4 cops can't do it.
Yeah, no, bring this kid in.
And this kid's fucking tough.
Yeah.
Child labor.
Dude, this kid's hard as nails, dude.
You're about to hear it.
Hell yeah, dude.
Literally. Unafraid of ghosts and clearly tough as nails,
shit.
Speaking of the devil.
There you go.
The unaccompanied first grader entered the now empty apartment. As he walked past the overturned tables and chairs, the boy, betraying no doubt his father's own sentiments, muttered in acerbic disgust that the whole situation was crazy. It was then that, in what Grundhauser, I keep saying that I'm wrong, described was a drawn-out guttural tone, the notorious duende uttered its final words. Not crazy, little one. It was a phrase that not only capped this mystery with an appropriately confounding moment, but one that, we can only assume, sent the until then imperturbable Arturo stumbling back on his heels and out of the possessed apartment in a flash. With the city and religious officials jointly proclaiming that the hellish events plaguing the good folks of Zaragoza had come to an end, placating even paranormalists by claiming the incident to be an unintended bout of psychic phenomena, things slowly but surely settled back into the normal buzz of urban chaos that always envelops city centers. But while the enigma at the core of the Zaragoza duende phenomenon remains obstinately unsolved, the memory of the goblin of Gascon Gotor remains strong. And in the decades that followed, though the unnamed building that once hosted this fiery fiend fell into ruin and was eventually razed, its unique history was never lost. And when its replacement was erected in 1977, the structure was officially named Edificio Duende, or Goblin Building.
Yeah, dude, how cool is that? You're like, where do you live? Goblin Building?
Yeah.
Goblin
Fuck
Building.
yeah, dude.
Now it's just a fun little urban legend that no doubt amuses the adults living there, but may well fill their children with a gnawing sense of dread. Because kids know all too well that our world is not just made of facts, figures, deadlines, and appointments. It's also full of dark and unfathomable things. Things that need neither eyes to see nor vocal cords to speak. Things that just might be lurking in the oven.
Oh, the Zaragoza Goblin, an urban imp.
urban imp.
Holy shit.
Crazy.
Dude, the fact that it's a fucking talking stove has just, this is wonderful.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
It is a gift that keeps on
I don't
giving.
even know what to say.
I mean, okay, skeptically speaking, this is a hard one.
Yeah.
Because everything was cleared out. I mean, there's no way that If it's cleared, I don't know what to do. I mean, unless there's some way that somebody was talking through the stove, but like you mentioned earlier, unless they had a system of like I don't know, mirrors and like weird periscopes so they could like look into the apartment. There's not a way to do it.
I mean, even so, I mean, that would be so hard.
It'd be so, and it was already. If they went to the lengths of having the army, the police, like everyone's involved, the church, to clear the place out,
checking all the heating ducts.
I don't know how the hell you would. I mean, I don't want to give any, credence to the whole unconscionable fucking ventriloquist or whatever.
Oh, that's
unconscionable. I don't know. Because that's so stupid.
That to me is pure BS. That's pure BS designed to, to further, to pin the tail on the marginalized and send them scurrying from town. It just seems then you don't have to think about it anymore.
Could it be some weird like psychic projection from someone? That doesn't make any sense to me. I just made that up.
Well, I mean, there's the original Enfield horror, the actual poltergeist events, which some people say is a ruse, and some people say, obviously, like a lot of poltergeist cases tend to go around pubescent women, girls going through hormonal changes, particularly girls, not men, by and large. And so maybe it's because we don't know the ages of the children in the household or their genders.
Yeah, if it was some sort of like, I mean, I think the Dag Demon was kind of the same way.
100%.
Yeah.
Because the main person was their stepdaughter or whatever.
It was, I'm pretty sure.
Or adopted. I don't remember the actual specifics.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it depending. I mean, they said they inspected the whole building, so I have to assume they were thorough.
Right, but it was still talking with them. Yeah, so like whatever it is, like
I mean, the walls could have been just enough. They're like nobody could fit in that one of those walls, but
it just seems such a weird and then to make your voice come from the stove. Like if there's a vent system and you're behind it in some little tiny wall or something, and you're just playing hell with everybody. It just seems so complicated.
It does.
And you'd be like, oh, so and so's not here,
right?
Like
because what it would take is this.
It take a lot.
A scrawny, intrepid kid.
Yeah,
that is not claustrophobic, that has found a place behind the wall that not only allows so that when they speak, it goes right into the right pipe, but there's also a hole in the wall allowing them to see everything that's taking place in the kitchen.
That's the thing too, is they'd have to be able to have. They'd have to.
There'd have to be a line of sight.
What they're doing,
for sure. But
I mean, also too. I mean, it is telling though that the thing couldn't see what was happening necessarily in other apartments or in the living room,
right? But it was interacting with everybody.
But could tell who was coming into the room.
That's interesting. It was line of sight. If you were outside the room, it couldn't see you. So that's interesting. Because if it was some sort of I don't know, fucking haunted demonic thing, Duende thing, wouldn't it? Well, I guess they're not like.
Well, no, not if it's possessing the stove. It's in the stove.
Yeah, they're not omniscient. Yeah.
But if you're possessing a stove, you don't have eyes. So how would you see anything anyway?
See, there no one thought about that.
The eyes that don't see.
Yeah, the eyes.
The lips that don't read.
The hands that can't touch.
Right.
The eyes without a face.
The unsniffing nose.
Oh no, the nose that shan't sniff.
But
what a fucking weird case.
It's interesting. Just you get Jeff, and then you get this, and it's just like one of those things where like, oh man, this is interesting. I wonder if we could pull one of these.
Oh, like someone's trying to pull it off.
You know what I mean?
I mean,
just because the proximity.
I mean, you can't rule it out, but nobody turned a buck. Like the city fathers didn't turn a buck. The Palazan, I think I'm saying the name right. Palazan family didn't turn a buck.
No,
I don't think they were even charging. Like the person the guy who owned the building should have been charging people to enter. I don't believe he was even doing that.
Yeah, I mean,
at least it was not mentioned.
I don't think it's like a hoax perpetrated by the people. I think they're
just to see if you could do it.
Yeah, I think they're both outside party things maybe. If that was the case,
it just seems like you did get that much manpower and time and money and effort put into this thing that somebody would have found something.
Well, yeah,
I know, but I don't know.
That's the thing.
1934,
well, that's the thing too.
Laws and rules
34,
and inspections. They're just like
listen. I mean, Einstein was coming up with relativity around that time. It's not like we were.
And these guys were interrogating.
No, but that was Einstein, not
just saying
the masses.
Well, sure, but the masses aren't Einstein today either. But yes.
Then again, I mean, I guess it would give a thing where if you were told to go in there and you'd already be kind of fucking sketched out by it, where you're like, dude, we're going to fucking interrogate a duende that lives in a stove. So you're already kind of have that in your head, you know? And culturally, we
Yeah,
understand how duendes are and stuff like that. So you're automatically going to be off.
The thing that intrigues me is that, like, the authorities did ostensibly all the right things.
They did, yeah, 100%.
You know, they had people, you know, go into the rooms, check it out, see if there was any, you know, passage, you know, closed it down, had like architects who know like where things are.
All kinds of
Architects consulting the actual plans for the building. You know,
measuring out the
all sorts of people look into all the nooks and
yeah.
crannies, you know, and then finally they're like, okay, it's empty. Check it again. It's empty.
Yeah.
Have a human chain around it. Nobody can get in.
I want to be a part of that human chain.
Even though it's you know, the pictures I've seen, it's weird. If they are accurately depicting this thing, it seems like it's on the corner. So therefore it means that it's butting up against buildings on at least two sides.
Okay, fair.
And weirdly enough, it has like an upturned, I don't know what this has to do with anything, but it has an upturned sort of what looks like a wraparound awning, but it's turned up like it's there to capture things falling down rather than to prevent weather from hitting the sidewalk.
Yeah, it could be
really
could
weird.
be some weird drainage thing though. Too,
could be a
like
weird drainage
rain.
thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, even indicating this, it's all cleared out. And then the search party goes in to look again. No one's getting in or out. This elite crack team of psychologists and priests
So weird.
are sent in. And so, I mean, what it really comes down to is one super skinny, fully dedicated hoaxer with a good vantage point to see the entire kitchen and an ability to talk into pipes in a way that his voice isn't carrying through, because they surely would have popped a hole in the wall if they thought something was back there.
Yeah, I mean, just architecturally alone, you'd
to
be
me,
able to
that's
know.
really,
I don't know.
to me, it's like, what the fuck else could it be?
I mean, if they had plans,
It's
you'd be
not
able to
paranormal.
like look and be like, okay, well, this is the wall. This is where the studs are. This is how deep this is. Here's the wall to the connecting.
Right.
You'd be able to go through and do all that. So,
I mean, there are photos. There's a photo of Pasquale like standing in front of the stove looking disturbed.
right.
I don't remember the wall. I wonder if the walls were just brick.
I mean, even if they're brick, they would
Yeah,
still
I
have like probably like a sort of like a smaller area in between, just for like venting purposes. And
Sure.
well, who knows? This is 1930. I don't know how anything was built back then. I'm just going by.
And the chances of that
days.
being a new building are nil, because
Yeah.
if the photo is accurate, that building was old as fuck. So
Yeah.
we're talking 1800s.
So the only thing
sometime.
that we're left with, man, is just it's a possessed stove / and or duende spirit living in the stove. Which is normally when we talk about duendes, they're a tiny little, like a dude.
It's a
or
physical
whatever. Yeah, they're like a little
thing.
tiny thing.
Yeah.
But you got to remember, that's regional lore.
It's true. It's
Filling in
true.
a gap.
No,
There's no
yes.
reason. I mean, it's
Yes.
called the Zaragoza Goblin and when
Right.
it's anglicized, and duende when
The
it's
stove elf.
yes,
That's kind of cool.
stove elf.
Yeah,
exactly.
stove elf.
All of these phrases are fine, but none of them actually need to apply.
No, they don't.
It could have
It's true.
been a dead human being who had died in that apartment and whose soul found itself trapped in a fucking oven.
It was communicating from beyond the grave via the oven.
Could have been an alien intelligence of some other
A
kind.
non-human intelligence?
Well, clearly it's a non-human intelligence.
Yeah,
It's
NHI,
decrying
dude.
its humanity. It's
better
saying I'm not a human.
Call your boy Barber. Barbarar.
Baba.
Babar.
Jake
Oh,
Baba.
dude, I was
I
dying.
will call Jake
I
Baba.
was dying.
I will have him tell me
I
who
was
the duende
listening to
is.
that. It's like, Babar. I'm like, dude, he can't say Barber.
I can say barber, thank you.
Just the way you did it was great. Like a babar. Dude, this could also too, man. This kind of plays into like the trickster element and all. I mean, clearly this
Well,
plays
yeah.
into the trickster
How do you
element.
not invoke that?
I
mean,
know.
whether it's Loki, the coyote, fucking
The ultra-terrestrials.
all cultures have them.
I know. I had to bring it
And
up. I haven't
trickster
talked about it in a
elements.
while.
I mean, Jeff is
Been a-
most
been a while.
assuredly a trickster
100%, yeah.
type thing. If it's not a hoax,
The fifth
if it's not
dimension.
Voiré using awesome real ventriloquism,
Yeah.
not even unconscious,
Yeah.
wholly conscious ventriloquism by
Completely
Voiré.
completely on
conscious.
purpose ventriloquism.
This thing is less bombastic in its proclamations than Jeff. He's not like the eighth dimension. He's not splitting the atom, but
Yeah,
it is every bit as fucking crazy. It happens
dude,
in the
100%.
exact same time frame. While
Yeah.
Jeff's antics are continuing,
Yeah.
his are beginning. Chris is right to point out that 34 is 3 years after 31 when Jeff's shit started.
Yep. True.
And so it would have been in papers everywhere.
Yep.
So it could have very well inspired a copycat. But I'm still confused as to how it behooved anybody. And sometimes, the joy of hoaxing people is the
Yeah, I
only
mean,
joy.
just pulling it off.
But I don't.
Sometimes, yeah.
But I'm really. I find it confounding how it was pulled off.
Yeah, no, same. I mean, who knows? Maybe if they're super just resourceful and there's maybe something that we're missing. I don't know, but it just seems that if you all that time and money and manpower and everything being searched, and it's not like you just got like, it's not like it's us just in the building like, let's see what we got. Like, you've got throngs of people in there checking this thing out. So much that they have hands across America around the building.
Yeah.
Hands across Zaragoza to like get this.
And they cut off all power,
out.
so there's no chance. I don't know what walkie-talkie tech was like in 1934, but
yeah, probably kind of.
But you could broadcast a shortwave. On a shortwave radio.
I was thinking maybe
something.
if this was something
but the
where
cutoff power should
if the
deny
stove was picking up frequencies from somewhere, I guess. But
and again,
but
how would it though?
If the stove was just randomly talking
it's
shit,
answering direct questions.
That's it.
Exactly.
And addressing people as they come. Maybe it's I hate to go on a limb.
Okay.
Maybe it's a ratatouille.
It's
a sentient little rat of Nim.
Yeah.
That's just talking and hanging out in the pipes and seeing everything that's going on.
Kind of like Jeff, though, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like Jeff.
Well,
yeah.
Jeff Tooey.
Jeff Tooey. Yeah. I like the idea of this of a stove getting randomly like possessed by.
I prefer the idea of a sentient stove. Just one day the stove wakes up, doesn't know what's going on.
I am no man.
It's a total Wall-E / short circuit scenario. Maybe the lightning struck it. Because lightning's always the creator of life.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
If you're going to believe Mary Shelley and various other
the Flash,
Frankenstein-like sources, the Flash.
And something
it's not chemicals or
but
nuclear waste.
But animating, unalive material. That's a classic modern
Jason
Prometheus
Voorhees.
trope.
Yeah, good old Jason.
So maybe the lightning hit. The stove woke up and had a crush
and
on Pasquale.
And it was just like, what am I doing here?
And didn't know its place. Like a child, it was like acting out. I'm going to kill you. Oh, I love you. I'll go ahead and smoke. It's cool. Don't worry about it.
It gave him permission to smoke.
Smoke it up.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a stove. What do I care?
Have a cigarette.
It's what I do.
And then they're like, we don't smoke. Like, you better fucking start, dude.
Yeah, what are
thing
you
told you
doing?
to smoke.
That's
Smoke
a shame
butt.
they didn't just save it. Put it in the stove.
Yeah,
I know, man. I would, as much as this thing was probably
that should be in
the
fucking the couple there that have all those haunted artifacts in their
the Newkirks?
The Newkirks.
Or like Zach Baggins? Well, no, actually.
Well, he owns a museum.
I was talking about the Newkirks, but but Baggins too would count.
But 34, dude, this, if going forward a little bit, that would be Ed and Lorraine.
Yeah.
It would be totally be like in there. They
sure.
they had like one of the first ones, I think, right? They had like Annabelle.
As far as
as
far as I know, it was the first.
Dude, what if they had they're like, here is the Zaragoza Goblin, and it's just the stove.
It's just
and
the stove
like,
sitting
it
there.
will talk to you. It's kind of like a Robert the Doll situation, but
I can't
way less dangerous.
I keep seeing like little short funny vignettes, like someone should do like a stop motion channel with it, but it's always flapping when it's talking.
Yeah,
hey,
I was thinking of the
it's
front,
like Toaster Wars
like
or whatever.
Like the front door, the thing is just like
Hardware
popping open.
Wars.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's awesome. Well, there it is, man. Holy shit.
Crazy stuff.
That was awesome. The Zaragoza Goblin and Urban Imp. Rob, thank you so much. My God.
Absolutely.
That was awesome.
I would love to know other
so
legends
fun,
hailing from both the Atlantic and Pacific theaters or anywhere else, because it was literally a world war. Like mid-30s, early 30s.
It's a weird time, man. Weird time.
Like where these manifestations, which may or may not be associated with, teenage girls, are just showing up and just, tilting the world around them ass over tea kettle.
Dude, sign of the times, man.
Yeah.
Sign of the goddamn times. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Cryptonaut Podcast. Robert, we got some shout-outs to do for the good folks to support us at patreon.com/Cryptonaut Podcast. Let this be a reminder that if you do any purchases through the iOS app, you will get upcharged money that you don't need to spend on Apple. So just do everything through the web. Please do not do it through the iOS app. And those of you that do, I will continue to reach out just to let you know that you don't got to spend this extra money because we feel terrible that you're spending it.
Yes.
So without further ado, Robert, let's give some thanks to the good folks who support us at Patreon.
Let's start it off with 3 Opossum Moon.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much for your support. We appreciate it.
I like it. One word. It's all right.
Hell yeah.
I feel like that's like an auspicious occasion.
Oh, it's a 3
It's a 3 Opossum Moon?
Yeah.
Yes. Shit.
Damn.
Ronan's dad.
Thank you so much, Ronan's dad. We appreciate it.
Said Shinigami 0.
Thank you so much. We appreciate the support.
Justin White.
Hell yeah, Justin. We appreciate it.
Excellent Charles.
Yeah, excellent Charles. Thank you so much again. That is Cryptonaut. That is a Cryptonaut Podcast Patreon, available at patreon.com/Cryptonaut Podcast. And don't sign up for the iOS app because they will charge you money that you don't need to be charged.
True.
The Instas and the Twitters and the Facebook. You know what? I'm not going to even say Twitters because I haven't been there in a long time. So the Instas and the TikToks and the Facebook and the YouTubes, Yeah, there you
Tubes.
go. I
Yeah.
have to go through and
Do we
redo
even
our
update
social-
our Twitter anymore or X or whatever it is?
No, I haven't really done any. If I occasionally check if someone shoots at something, I'll be like, oh hey, what's up? Thanks, but I don't really fuck with Twitter or whatever X the bullshit is. So,
Fair enough.
but regardless, from the social medias, be sure to check us out there. Like, comment, share, do all the fun stuff you do on the social medias. We appreciate all the interaction. The merch is available at heatherspace.com. TeePublic. Get that Mothman shirt. By God, it's still selling like crazy.
Oh, good.
I was just talking to a rep, Violet, and I was like, yo, the Mothman shirt totally killed it. And she was like, this is awesome. People love it. Dope. So there's always sales going on, so be sure to check it out there.
Well worth the wait, it turns out.
Oh, 100%, dude.
Yeah.
It's great. So be sure to check that out. And again, there's always sales going on every month. And with the Patreon, you are tied to the Discord server. Every tier of Patreon has that. So jump on Discord. That's tied to your tier. Get in there, have a fun time chatting it up.
Yeah.
It's good. By the time this comes out, we have already done the movie night, but we'll have other events coming up, so you can do that. And we have new bonus videos on YouTube.
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
Where we're talking about
Those are fun.
We're doing just random, I don't know.
Yes.
We did record covers. We did VHS covers. We did comic book stuff. We got a fun horror one come up that we're going to do. So check those out. You can subscribe to our YouTube. We got all kinds of shorts and other video things happening there. And that's it. Thank you all so very much. And we're talking to you soon.
Goodbye.
My Zin keeps coming out of my mouth.
Oh.
There it is.
Now,
I had it in the bottom lip for some reason.
geez Louise.
It slipped.
If you want to get a full-size Zaragoza oven replica, I won't stand in your way.
We got a lot of questions about the Ark of the Covenant.
I'm just saying.
Well, people were more concerned. Did Rob fuck it? And I'm like, no. But if we did, he will. And that's okay.
They were concerned what? That I kiboshed the deal?
No, that you'd fuck it.
No, that you'd
I'm
pork
not
it.
going to fucking inanimate object, you fucking weirdos.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't judge you for it. Dude, if you were
All
fuck
right.
the Ark of the Covenant, I bet that's kind of boss.
I mean,
If you're gonna fuck something,
if it's
It's a baller
sentient
ass-
silicon from another dimension and we really hit it off and it's technically not alive, I'm not going to rule it out.
you don't got to have a
But
relationship
I
with
don't
it.
fuck props or furniture or appliances, generally speaking.
Be a baller ass move.
Is the Lost Ark of the Covenant an appliance?
That's a great question.
no, it's storage.
Is it an appliance?
Storage, yeah, but it serves a purpose. It's also a war maker.
Ooh, is it a tote?
Well, not the.
What is a tote?
Is it a
I mean,
fancy
the stuff
tote?
inside the ark, not the ark, really.
Well, all right, yes, but it's the divine power rippling through it. In the same way you could say a toaster is an appliance, but without electricity, it don't mean shit.
Yeah, but it makes toast.
I'm confused. But the Ark of the
I'm
Covenant.
saying it's the power of God that zaps the enemy and
But the Ark of the
protects.
Covenant could probably make toast. Does that make it a
But I'm not
toaster?
going to fuck an ark, okay? Everyone
ain't
can
making
go to
no
bed
toast.
and be happy.
I'm not judging you for or whatever.
I'm going to fuck on the ark if it's full size.
What if we get you a fleshy ark?
Oh yeah, dude!
Oh.
Not like a fake ass, but like a fake ark
Oh my! With
Dude,
the
yeah.
rubber ass on
With a
it.
rubber ass.
with
in
a
the back.
rubber ass on it, dude. Yeah.
When you open it up, the ass comes up.
It just hovers. Up
Happy
like that.
Easter.
Oh, there
Everyone
it
out
is.
there.
I hope you all
Happy
had a nice
Easter.
Okay, bye.
We'll
No,
talk to you.
I gotta shut
Peace.
this off.
Oh God.
Good Lord.